Welcome to another episode, everyone. Wes Watson is cooked. He's headed back to prison. He just pled guilty to beating down the 7-foot monster in a racist attack there at the gym where him and his buddies used weapons to attack this individual. Now, he's also, as we know, locked up for assaulting his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, facing many years in prison for this. Let's see what happened with this case, though, with the 7-foot monster and how long Wes Watson will be heading back to prison for. And the bigger question then is going to be what will happen to him once he returns to prison, because he's been doing a lot of things on the street that many individuals in prison are not happy with. We'll get into that.
A Florida fitness social media influencer has pleaded guilty to beating a New Jersey man inside a Miami gym. Today, the influencer accepted a plea deal that includes more than just prison time. NBC6's Christian Colon explains.
Nothing matters but what we have to do today.
On social media, convicted felon Wesley Watson, known online as Wes, promotes himself as a motivational speaker and fitness influencer. Now he has another conviction on his record.
You would be adjudicated guilty, which is a criminal conviction on your record. You would be sentenced to 21 months state prison with credit for all time served, which would be followed by 7 years of probation.
Watson pleaded guilty to beating a man from New Jersey inside a Miami gym in December of 2024. Police say the victim confronted Watson. The two argued, and after the victim pushed him, investigators say Watson responded by repeatedly striking him with a weightlifting belt.
I don't think there was any dispute at the beginning of this that Wes was initially able to use force. The tricky part of this case is when does that force need to be exercised and stopped? And perhaps at this point, he went a bit too far.
Watson failed to prove he acted in self-defense. Records show the victim suffered a face fracture, a concussion, and 2 black eyes. As part of the plea deal, Watson must go to counseling and avoid drugs and alcohol.
Hey, 2 black eyes? I knew that they had beat him pretty bad, but I didn't know he was beat that bad. 2 black eyes and a face fracture. So he got 21 months. He got 21 months in prison, followed by 7 years of probation. But again, he has been locked up since December or so for the other case. He's still locked up for the other case. We just saw him, right? We see him right there in the orange jumpsuit. It's not for this case. He was out on bail for this case. 21 months. I mean, it was assault with a deadly weapon, assault and battery. And he had some very serious charges. He came out okay, I'd say 21 months. And basically it's going to end up being like time served or something. And so it's just a 7 years probation. But other than that, I mean, I think he made it out all right for that case that was caught on camera. And again, this individual, as we can see, had black eyes, face fractures, beat him with a weightlifting belt, etc. They were kicking him, all sorts of stuff. Hell, it could have been attempted murder. So he got off.
One is we need to serve a restraining order on you.
What's a restraining order?
What's that?
What's a restraining order? What's a restraining order?
Domestic violence restraining order.
Nothing domestic violence will ever happen.
What's that?
Nothing like that ever happened.
But Watson's legal troubles are not over. In Broward County, he's accused of severely beating a woman, leaving her momentarily blacked out, according to records. This case remains open.
And the victim's attorney denied.
Yeah, the case more than remains open. He's cooked. Okay, let's get into this. My guy, Johnny Bravo. Shout out to Johnny Bravo. He has the tea, if you will, on Wes Watson's situation. He has the paperwork.
Long time coming, since we heard anything about that case with Peggy and the 7-foot monster. Remember when Peggy and his little butt buddies ran a train on that poor guy and beat the shit out of him in Elevation Fitness in Miami? Well, that case has been dragging around for over a year. Well, when I tell you what happened this morning with Peggy in court, you know how I call, the monster a poor one, right? It's a poor 7-foot monster. We may be calling him a very rich one, because what happened today, it's gonna affect everything.
What happened, Johnny? He gonna get
Social
rich?
media fitness influencer Wes Watson appeared before a judge today here in Miami-Dade court for a plea deal related to a violent incident that happened back in December.
So yesterday I posted some news about the case. And I said, that Peggy was.
So yeah, just like I thought it happened in December. So he just pled guilty to that and got 21 months. But what does Johnny Bravo here mean that the 7-foot monster may get rich? Is he suing Wes Watson and about to get some money?
Was debating on taking a plea bargain, and he either was going to plead not guilty or guilty. And he was leaning towards pleading guilty. And the reason how I knew this was because you guys remember I took the trip down to Florida and I made connections with officials. And you guys know me. I do these things because I want some information that others can't get. And when I was talking to them yesterday, they relayed to me that they offered Peggy a really good deal and that he was leaning on taking it. And there was a development this past week where Peggy was caught on the jail phone, because you guys know how he never shuts the fuck up. Well, they caught him saying incriminating shit again. So I think Peggy knew he was fucked. So he took the deal. Now, let me go over these details with you, and then I'm going to tell you how this affects everything. Social media fitness influencer Wes Watson, I like to call him Peggy better, pled guilty Thursday to aggravated battery in connection with a violent confrontation at a Miami-Dade County gym last December. Watson, 42, appeared in Miami-Dade court as part of a plea agreement stemming from an incident at Elevation Fitness. According to arrest documents, Peggy told responding officers he was working out when the victim approached him and said he wanted to fight. Investigators say surveillance video captured Watson beating the victim with his weightlifting belt during an altercation. As part of the plea agreement, prosecutors offered Watson a sentence of 21 months in prison, including time already served, followed by 7 years of probation and mental health treatment. Yeah, he needs a...
Yeah, see, including time already served. Well, I guess the time that he had, because it's not time served, because it happened in December, and this is July. So 21 months is not time served, even if he had been locked up that whole time, which he has not. Oh, no, actually, no, excuse me. The case that he's in there on is confusing. The case he's in there now happened in December. The case he's charged with now against the female, against his ex-girlfriend. This other case happened a year ago. I covered it when it transpired. It happened a year or so ago. So he would be close if he got 21 months with halftime or something like that. Could be 85%, but he's close to having time served. It's not really. He's already locked up for the other situation, but that's what he is worried about. And that's what he needs to worry about, because this was a woman, a female that he's locked up for right now. And as Johnny Bravo just said, he beat her allegedly until she blacked out, this, that, and the other. And this is a little, what they're going to consider a helpless female or a defenseless female against someone the size of Wes Watson. And considering what just happened with the 7-foot monster, as they refer to him as, where he administered 2 black eyes and face fractures and everything else to him, to have another case where it involves violence and assault and beating on someone, and this is a woman, and you haven't been out of prison in a long time, yeah, they can certainly deem you a menace to society, a violent individual, that society would be safer with you not out here in society. This is the sort of thing that the court does. And of course, Wes Watson doesn't look like me, so he has a much better chance.
A lot of mental health treatment.
In Thursday's court appearance, Watson pleaded guilty to aggravated battery in that December gym incident. The state offered a sentence of 21 months, including time served, and 7 years probation and mental health treatment.
He's lucky he got a 21-month offer.
Yeah.
At first, they were offering him 3 to 5 years. And he's lucky they offered him this 21-month shit, especially after they caught his ass flapping his mouth on the prison phones. During Thursday's hearing, Watson's attorney argued the circumstances leading up to the fight were unusual.
There's been a lot that's been argued in this case. We've done stand your ground. What this case really is about, and it's unique, is you have an alleged victim that sought somebody out.
He's not an alleged victim. It's caught on tape. We can see that he is a victim. We can see by his injuries that he is a victim. Okay, I'll leave it right there. Shout out to Johnny Bravo And let me know what you all think in the comments. Wes Watson is headed back to prison, a 21-month sentence for the beatdown in the gym. Again, not to be confused with the case that he is still in there on, that he has not taken a plea deal on. Apparently has not been offered a plea deal on the case that he is in there on now, which is beating his ex-girlfriend. This was a separate case that happened months prior to that he was out on bail for when he caught this case against his ex-girlfriend. So he just settled the case that he was out on bail for, took a 21-month plea deal, as we just seen, and 7 years probation. He was facing 3 to 5 years for that assault. So either way, he still came out okay. But again, he has much bigger problems, much bigger issues that he needs to be concerned about. And I'm sure he absolutely is concerned about it. He said, let me take this deal and get this over with. I'm not even worried about this 21 months. I'm worried about this, what they talking about over here. I'm about to have to take 10 years over here. So I'm just going to eat that 21 months up. I'm not even worried about that. Over here, it's the same thing, a much lighter assault. Because the assault that he was accused of against a 7-foot monster, again, accused of using a weightlifting belt and other objects, kicking the individual, and it's all caught on tape. We've seen it. And this individual really was brutalized. Of course, he's a 7-foot individual and a black man. But he allegedly certainly brutalized his ex-girlfriend as well. Perhaps not as bad as what he did with the 7-foot monster as far as his weightlifting belt and fracturing, even though she had some injuries. But the fact that she's a woman, a white woman, and just a little innocent little woman who had no chance against this individual in his roid rage, they're going to probably try to make an example out of him. And again, because he's at the assault case, exhibiting that he's prone to violence, this is what the courts are going to try to say. He's facing some time for that situation that he's in on now. He probably going to have to take a deal for a nice little, it won't be 21 months. It will not, they're not going to give him 21 months for that. So we'll see what happens as he continues to fight that case and what happens when Wes Watson heads back to prison, because he's going one way or another now. Even if he were to beat the other case, he's still going to prison for this case, but it's not looking good for the other case either. Again, looking at perhaps trying to take a 10-year plea, 8 years, 7 years or something, after being out here on the street and having it your way and living large for however long. And now to go from that to jail, again, back to prison, has to be soul shattering. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay safe and stay free, people.